Yeah. Hat.
Okay then, welcome to class.
Thanks for having me.
I'm your professor today. Well, this is basically just going to be as basic as possible because I think a lot of the complex stuff is just unnecessary to actually play the game. So we're just going to go over the basics of what makes a good striker in Inazuma 11 Victory Road. If my
I think the
laptop's
complex
gonna
stuff
work.
would go over my head anyway.
Not really, because the thing is you play Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think you'd handle the complex stuff fine. I just want the video to be like a very basic introduction so people can kind of get into it quickly.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lawyer's game, that is true.
Right, what's the main name of a striker in football?
Well, it's to score goals, isn't it?
Yep, 100%. Just to score goals. And in Victory Road, we do this by essentially depleting a goalkeeper's KP bar to 0, which is like... Imagine the goalkeeper is like a final boss, and then that's their health bar, essentially. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
And we essentially just deplete it by taking shots on goal, and every time you take a shot on goal, it's gonna like chip away at the KP bar. But if you use certain mechanics to your advantage, or you like your character's just strong enough and their goalkeeper's weak enough, you can just like blow out their HP bar in like one hit.
So you can do a finisher basically.
Yeah, and execute.
Execute probably fits for this franchise considering what the fuck you can actually do.
You can just throw a nuclear bomb at the goalkeeper. They actually changed some of those animations where the goal just explodes.
Great. My immersion.
Anyway, what can help a striker deplete a KP bar? There's quite a few answers to this question, but I'm gonna go over some of the simple ones because these are the only ones that, well, not the only ones that matter, but the ones that matter the most. So like, good shot AT, strong Hissatsu. Hissatsu is just the name for special moves in the series. Passive tactics and bond power, which are essentially just buffs of like different kinds. Elemental advantage, and then if you're a bitch, you can use breach. I think my friend Femi put breach like perfectly. Breach is essentially just gambling. It's like running up to a casino and just like doing slots. That's essentially what breach was.
I mean, I can't say I hate that considering there's a plasma shadow variant that just gives you a luck boost.
No. That's balanced. That's balanced. Breach is essentially that but on fucking fentanyl or something. Like, imagine you take a shot and it only has 1 power and the goalkeeper has 5 billion power. If you land the breach chance, it just goes in. That's essentially what
does
breach
piercing
is.
damage.
But like previously, critical hits, you just got double damage. Like with the plasma shadow, if you landed that crit, you just got double damage. With this, it just went in. They did nerf it, so now it decreases the goalkeeper's HP bar by proportion of how much tension you have full of your tension bar, which is like the mana or like stamina bar for special moves in this game. Alright, so first we're going to start with elements, since it's arguably, I'd say it's like top 3 most important things in the entire game. So like each player will have an element, and these elements interact with each other in similar ways to games like Pokemon, but with a bit more to it. And also every special move will have an element. There's like player to player interactions with elements. No, I don't think 2. I think every element has 1. I don't think there's any like special things kind of like flying press or anything like that. So everything will have 1. So there's player to player interactions. There is moves similar to that actually, but I don't know how they work in the full game. In Inazuma 11 Victory Road, there's like different interactions. So there's player to player, there's Hissatsu to Hissatsu, and in this game there's actually another interaction which is like player to Hissatsu and Hissatsu to player. But that's based on like how it worked in the beta test, and that started like 2 fucking years ago, so I don't know if that's gonna be the same in the full game.
It's been that long?
Since the beta test. I'm pretty sure the beta test was 2023.
Damn.
But yeah, there's other things like Keshins, like Plasma Shadows, Souls, and all that stuff that have elements as well, but we're not going to really get into that because it doesn't really matter. In the series, we have 5 elements, even though there's only 4 on the screen right now. And we'll do the 5th one after since it's a little different to these. We don't have a type chart like in Pokemon, where we have a type cycle. So every one of the types is strong against one type and then weak against another. It's not like the ice type or the bug type in Pokemon where it's balanced so atrociously that there are other types that are just objectively better. Like, these types are all essentially equal, if that makes sense. So yeah, air beats earth, earth beats fire, fire beats wood, and then wood beats air, and it just goes round in a cycle. And then there's the fifth element, which is void. Void doesn't interact with anything. So it's not weak to anything, it's not strong against anything, it just exists. And void is, no player has void. It's primarily for like Hissatsus and Keshins and souls and all of that stuff. And it's essentially an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time, since you're never weak to anything, so you're never at a disadvantage, but you're never going super effective against anything either, so you might lack the oomph needed in some cases that the type advantage can provide to help you score or like win an interaction.
Alright.
There isn't actually any void type players, but in Gog 2 Chronostones on the 3DS, there was a random Triceratops that you had to battle that was void type, so maybe he's in the full game and you actually had to play as it. Yeah, you had to play football against a Triceratops.
Right, of course.
Inazuma.
Yeah.
So I have like some questions here. Oh, why is it going so fast? Oh, it's because my cat is standing on the fucking keyboard. Give me a second.
Remove the cat.
Alright, so let's say we're going up against a fire type goalkeeper. Based on the type cycle before, what element would you want our striker to be?
So that's a fire goalkeeper, right? Considering it's red and
Yeah,
looks
that's
like
fire
the kanji
type.
for fire.
Yeah, that's the fire
So
type.
you would use what, earth?
Yeah, ideally we'd want to use earth, since earth is super effective against fire, but you could also use wind, since wind is neutral. You can also use void, since void is neutral as well, and fire itself, since fire is neutral. You just pretty much you don't want to use wood type. Like it's not like Pokemon where like a fire type will resist fire. Fire is neutral against fire in this game. And then the next question. Let's say we're going up against a goalkeeper that only has wood type special moves. What type of special move would we want to use here?
Whatever beats wood, no?
Yep, and that would be fire in this case. So you'd want to use a fire type special move ideally. But same as like the last question, you can use void, you can use earth, and you can use wood as well. So what do you think would make a special move strong? It's not a trick question, it's just like straightforward.
What makes a Shanti such strong? Well, something like Excalibur, right? Where it builds power as it goes, or something that can be fired and then chained with.
Excalibur didn't actually work like that in the games, and I'm terrified that in the next game it is going to work like that. But that is actually one of the points. It was high base power and special properties. So special properties, Excalibur's a long shot. We'll get to long shots in a second. There's nothing really complicated about base power in this game. Higher the base power, stronger the shot. There's stuff like stab. Stab used to be so dog shit in the DS games. It was good in the 3DS games, but in the DS games you got like a raw +5 power to like the end or something like that. But you don't just get higher base power for free, it does cost more. For example, at the top here we have Ganymede Ray, which is 240 base power, well at level 30. And it costs 90 tension, so it would cost you 90 stamina or mana to like use the shot. And then we have Supernova, which is 255, which costs 110 tension to do it. And it basically works like the overall moves, so like we have Spinning Shot here. Spinning Shot's 215, it has 50 tension cost. Dragon Blast is 250 and it has 120 tension cost. Oh yeah, cooldowns. Moves actually go into a cooldown in this game, so you can't actually just rapid fire spam moves off back to back to back to back. There is like a cooldown on them. So essentially it encourages you to use a lot more of your team to actually get the job done instead of just relying on one player to just run it down and score. And in terms of like move powers, it doesn't seem like stronger moves go into a longer cooldown. It seems like a flat cooldown, to, at least from my understanding. I could be wrong since the full game could have some changes, but in the beta test, that's essentially how it functioned. And now properties. As you can see on the screen, we have long shots. Long shots are technically the only shot property in the game, I think. Well, at least from the beta test. And in the full, well, how do I put it? In the full game, some people have said that block shots are back, which essentially is a shooting move that you can use to block and counter another shooting move. But in the beta test that wasn't present, so I'm not going to go over that now. I'll do like a separate video on those if that is in the full game. But long shots, as the name states, you can essentially take a shot from a very long distance away from the goal, like you mentioned before with Excalibur. You can essentially take the shot from like anywhere on the pitch. which is not the case for normal shots. You need to be within the box or in like a general vicinity of the goalkeeper to make a shot. Long shots,
Alright.
It's not like you just get to do that for free. They do cost more tension than standard shots of like the same power bracket that have no property. But I feel as if the fact that someone can just attempt to slow down your momentum in a match and you can just tell them to fuck off and then just let the shot rip from wherever you are, it just kind of makes the drawback a lot more, not negligible, but the drawback essentially doesn't matter because of how much value you get from it. And you can always do like chain shots to like chain it to boost the power. You can use like tactics and stuff like that. Like if we get something similar to like pre-patch Flame Fortress and you're in a pinch, there's very little time left on the clock and stuff like that, you can just let that shit fly and essentially like make a buzzer beater equalizer or like a winning goal. So yeah, they're very beneficial.
Sounds pretty good.
This is a clip from Pixel. This was like during the early like part of the beta test. It's just like showing off long shots.
Isn't Tsunami like a completely mismatched role for what he does?
Kind of, yeah. He's how do I put it? Actually, I'll do it after because the audio might not pick it up because of how fucking loud the clip is. But yeah, essentially Tsunami's a defender, but he has like very good striking stats even though he is a defender, and he has very good defensive stats. So essentially how they wanted you to play him in the previous games was to essentially hold it down at the back, get possession of the ball through blocking, and then fire it back from wherever the fuck you are.
That sounds wonderful.
In the anime it was a bit different. In the anime he had like ridiculously good kicking power, but his ability to actually receive a pass was fucking atrocious. So they just like put him in defense and said just kick it from wherever the fuck you are.
All things must come at a price.
Okay, so there's another question here. Let's say we have our fire type goalkeeper here going for a special move called Burning Catch, which is a fire type move and it's 220 base power. Which one of these two moves would you want to use, Astro Break or Wolf Legend?
One of them has more base power by default, but it's air type, so...
in this, how do I put it? The type chart is fire would beat wood, wood and fire not wood and fire. Air and fire are neutral, but fire does beat wood.
Yeah, so we would use the air one, right? Because it edges out on power, but doesn't lose the matchup.
Yep, 100% correct. It's type neutral instead of type disadvantage, and it just has a higher base power. Same for this question. These are both fire type moves, and the goalkeeper's a wood type, so they're both type advantageous against him. But which one would you pick in this scenario?
60 tension, 100. Well, I guess it depends on the state of the game. If it's like if I have to manage my tension, I'm gonna pick the one that's only 60 cost because I'm gonna have advantage anyway.
That's pretty much correct. I was gonna like do like a little in-post chat about that, but yeah, it does depend on the like how much tension you have. But in this case scenario, Atomic Flare would be better, even though both are fine, since both are type advantageous against the Hissatsu is going to use, but Atomic Flare has the higher base power. But both options are technically right. Next topic is Shot AT. Shot AT is essentially the raw and or final power of your shots. Which two stats here, based on his stat spread, do you think contribute towards Shot AT? This is Sakurazaki, he's a striker.
I would imagine that something like physical, kick, and technique would... Well, no, I imagine FW stands for forward, midfield, and defense. So I would imagine the two that have the forwards on them contribute to Shot AT.
Yep, correct. What you said before was correct for the previous games, but for this game, what you said second was correct. So in the previous game, it was kick and technique, whereas in this game, it's kick and control. And the formula is very straightforward. Like, a lot of the veteran players will probably be like very surprised when they see the formula, but it's essentially just kick and control multiplied by buffs, multiplied by bond power. And if you're using a special move, you do the special move multiplied by buffs, bond power, and you add both values together. It's a lot more straightforward than the previous game where you needed to use like a quarter of technique, your shot AT, it was like a bunch of different things.
Sounds like the Pokemon damage formula.
Yeah, there's more to like how the Hissatsu formula works, but that doesn't fucking matter right now. Or at all, especially because the game just tells you the value as well, so that doesn't matter. But what is this character's raw shot AT? Like, what would this character's like raw shot AT? No buffs, no Hissatsu bond power. What would their just kick and control be?
What, 288?
Yep, simple as that. Their raw shot AT is 288. Out of these two characters, who would have the higher raw shot AT?
226 versus 200. I'm fucking killing myself out here. I can't fucking add 200s together on the spot, it seems. 216.
I have ADHD, I do the same thing.
But it's the first one anyway.
Yeah, it's the first guy.
The other one is
Yagyu. His kick and control is 226, where Kisoji's is 224. Out of these two items, which one would increase the shot AT more?
the one that gives me 11.
Yep, because kick and control are weighted equally, so you essentially just want the thing that gives you the higher kick or the higher control, since it gives you more of a boost. Again, the beta test, everyone was going all in on kick, not noticing that there were some items that gave you more control that would boost your shot AT more.
So,
yeah.
A striker gets a benefit from wearing goalie gloves?
Oh no, this was just an example. Well, to be fair, they could.
Okay.
They could, since in the previous games, there were some goalie gloves that did increase your shot power. Well, they increase move power in general. But yeah, so it could be like that in the game. Next is buffs and stuffs. I've just like put it all into one because this should probably be its own video, but fuck it, I'm just gonna like do a quick rundown now. So where can buffs come from? They can come from tactics, super tactics, bond power, passives, aura mechanics, super power-ups. They can come from a lot of different things, but these are just like a quick, well not quick, but like these are the ones that you're going to encounter the most. In terms of tactics and super tactics, they can be activated during a match, and they provide buffs to the team. A lot of them require certain conditions. I'll do that on like the next page. Some of these buffs are global and then are permanently in effect for as long as the tactic is in effect. And some of them are not. Some of them you need to do a certain thing to get that buff. And you can only have one tactic and one super tactic active at a time, and once they're done, they go into a cooldown. For the example, we're going to do pre-patch Flame Fortress. This is one of my favorite tactics in the game because of the clip. Well, similar to the clip Pixel showed, you could essentially take a long shot from your own half and you'd get a quarter of the power added on top as well.
Yeah, no wonder that was patched. It's just 25% on top.
To be fair, they patched it and made it significantly more broken because now your goalkeeper gets 10% more to their KP bar once you activate it.
What on top? As an overheal?
Not really an overheal, the value just goes up.
Oh, so his base stats increase?
Essentially, yeah.
Or something like that.
In terms of like tactics like this, you see that gold area on the football field?
Yeah.
Once you're in that gold area, you get a specific buff, and then the other buff applies to the rest of like, well, not the rest of the pitch, but it's just like a general global buff. In terms of like Flame Fortress, the pre-patch version, it doubled your DF values once you were in that golden area. So if your not even goalkeepers, if your defender wanted to block an oncoming shot, you could activate Flame Fortress, put them in the way, and then their double defense could allow you to actually stop that shot raw without it interacting with your goalkeeper. And then next you have
these at all, or?
You can chain a tactic and a super tactic. Super tactics are essentially random drops throughout the match. You get one right at the start as the match starts, and every time you have an interaction with another player in the midfield, there's a chance for it to like give you another super tactic, and they are fucking ridiculous. They go from like, for example, there's like a clip Pixel had like back when the beta first started. He had Flame Fortress, and then he had a super tactic that doubled his defense again. So he had essentially 200% extra defense, so he could essentially stop shots without needing to use special moves. You could just put a defender in the way, stop a chain easily. And there's other ones that are a lot more broken. The competitive scene, like, everyone was complaining about Invincible Keeper. Invincible Keeper essentially was a super tactic that just guaranteed you stopped a shot. You popped it, it would guarantee you stop it.
They would stop reach shots as well, or?
I've never actually seen the interaction between breach and a save. I'd assume save goes over it, but I don't know. There's also like a super tactic that gave you extra breach chance as well, which was even more hated than Invincible Keeper.
Understandable.
Bond Power. Bond Power is essentially similar to Grand Luster or Grand Plan in the previous games. You just accumulate power through passing. It reaches like a max cap of 30%, and that 30% buff will then be applied to the next shot taken on goal. As you probably saw back in like the shot AT formula thing.
So can you still like do this and then like Excalibur?
To be fair, you could build up Bond Power, use Excalibur, and then just chain it to boost the power even more.
Cool.
Then we have Aura Mechanics. These are actually called Super Power-Ups, but I think that name's fucking stupid, so I'm gonna keep saying Aura Mechanics. There's a variety of these to choose from. I'm glad you agree. Everyone agrees, apart from the devs, I guess. There's a variety of different ones. There's Souls, Keshin's, Miximax. There's a bunch of new ones like Bond Transform. But they all have features that set them apart from each other and function in different ways. And these, I guess they're somewhat similar to Tactics, but, well, at least the way they work now is somewhat similar to Tactics. A player essentially summons these, and as long as it's summoned, it will provide a buff to the player who summoned it. Compared to the previous games, it does seem like it has a shorter cooldown, but, well, not cooldown, shorter duration, sorry. But they still seem quite strong. Like in a previous like showcase, we saw that there was a Keshin called Maestro. He just buffs he basically just buffs your entire stats across the board by 40%. Which is quite good.
What?
And it's not even like it buffs the stats themselves, the raw stats. It buffs the final values. It's like Light Ball Pikachu, essentially. But instead of getting the double, it's like 40%.
Wonderful.
So yeah, these are going to be quite strong in the full game. We're unaware if, like in the previous game, some of them had global buffs. Like some of them had a buff that would affect the entire team. Like it would give the entire team a buff to all of their stats. I'm not 100% sure if there are going to be any like that in Victory Road, because we haven't really seen many of them in action. But these are not permanent. They will disappear over time if you have it active. So there's like a cooldown timer. Not cooldown. There's like a duration timer on them. And some of these will provide you with like a special move that's exclusive to them. For example, the Fox or the Wolf will provide you with a Soul Strike, or as we have on screen now, we have Evira. It will provide you with Mortal Smash, or the Plasma Shadows will provide you with the Shadow moves. And then we have passives. These are similar to Tactics as well. Some of them have conditions that need to be received in order to receive the buffs, and some are just constantly active from the get-go. And these don't seem to go on a cooldown, at least to my understanding. And in terms of players have rarities that essentially after every match you'll get these little tokens, and you can use those tokens to increase your player's rarity. And there's like 5 different, well, there's going to be more than 5. There's going to be like 6 rarities in the full game, I think. But every time you raise the character's rarity, it unlocks one of the passives. Like as you can see on screen, the character's a legendary player, so it has all 5, but if it was like a top player, which is a rank down, it would only have the 4th passive unlocked.
Right.
Passives can and will stack between members on the team or even on the same player. Like you can repeatedly activate the same passive. And you have coaches in this game, and coaches don't just buff tactics anymore. They actually buff passives and contribute towards the team's passives, which is quite good. The coach's passives also have like activation conditions. It's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! With trap cards and stuff.
Oh no.
Alright, so this is actually the final question. You don't have to work this out, I can just tell you the answer. But which one of these players do you think would have the higher shot AT? Or which one do you think would be better to use in this scenario? Let me just bring up these.
We got +5 controller, +1 kick. What's the type shot, the type advantage again? I keep forgetting.
Both of these types are air, so they would be strong against the Earth type goalkeeper. And in terms of the shots, the air type shot would obviously be strong against the earth type special move the goalkeeper's going to use, but the wood type would be neutral against that earth type move.
50-10. Well, tension costs don't matter here, I assume. So,
yeah, not in this scenario.
+1 kick. And we always get the +10 bond power, right?
Yeah, that just applies to both. It's basically like deciding who to shoot with if you were in this position.
I would probably shoot with the guy on the right. Spinning shot.
Yep, that is correct. There's the math on the screen there. You don't really need to work with any of that out, but Ganmade Rate is a stronger special move than Spinning Shot, but both of the players had the same raw shot AT after the passes were taken into account. But this guy would be better since there was more elemental boosts because of super effectiveness in his favor. Pretty sure that's it. That's the end of the video, or the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for attending class, Nicola.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to the next one.
I don't know what I'm going to do with the next one. I might do defenders because defense is my favorite position in Inazuma 11. And then midfield doesn't really do much. Yeah.
Well,
you have any questions?
Maybe
you
should make this a series. Yeah, you should make this a series.
I could try and make this a series. I feel as if like I was gonna do this with a few like Inazuma 11 content creators, but I feel as if they know enough about the game to not ask like common sense questions that a new player would ask, so it would be a lot less informative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it would be less informative for new players looking for resources when the game comes out.
Yeah. But that's essentially it. I'll end the recording now. Oh wait, did you have any questions before I ended it?
No, you made everything very clear. I think you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.